Okay, so we're called to order.
We are called to order.
The meeting is called to order. 6:57.
Here's the entry into my meeting book.
This is an oldie but goodie.
It is. All right. So we have one guest with us tonight, Ed, who lives in section 4. Glad to have you. Glad you made it. So, everybody had a chance to review previous minutes from last month. I did. We made one small update to it, I believe, concerning the discussion around the city ordinance. Were those amended to the minutes, or did we post them as executive?
Memory.
The
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, that was included in the minutes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. All right, good. Glad to hear
I
that.
move we approve the minutes as posted and dispense with the reading, blah, blah, blah.
Second.
So moved, seconded.
All in favor?
Aye. All right, very good. So, speaking of the City of Houston parking ordinance, Mike has dropped everything off and delivered everything in hand to the guy, and he's on top of that guy. And if I remember correctly, they reviewed that on the 5th and the 6th of the month, according to the packet that we got. So, city process, and we could know in a week to a month as to when our package will be approved.
And here's Mike.
Matter of fact, might even be able to tell us what that turnaround is. Hey,
Guys,
your admission to the party is, did they give you a turnaround time for approving our package for the parking ordinance?
No, but I think it'll be 2 or 3 weeks. I think it's pretty good.
Good. All right, very good. It's kind of what we were anticipating there.
I might run.
Hi, Mike. Good to see you.
Hey, good to see you, sir.
Ed lives down the street from you, Margaret.
Good.
Somebody
Shot,
knocked
holy
out.
cow. What'd you hear?
I'm sorry I'm late. It was tight 10 and working.
Did you lock William out?
I thought it propped it open, but probably at this
Mike,
point.
it was open when I got here.
Paperwork.
Oh, okay.
And there was a guy leaving with his son, so he may have.
There were like 5 kids in
I
there.
said, why is this propped open? It says, do not open the gate, so that's
That's fair. I got no complaints.
Well, we all need to have a key. Each of us needs to have a key.
Absolutely.
That's part of our discussion of the law.
That's on the agenda.
Good.
It is.
Because it was really difficult getting the landscape. I understand something I couldn't point to.
Key. All right.
Well, now we have a super duper
Yeah,
quorum.
the secret word of the day is. All right.
You know the handshake
It's
though.
quick.
Powerful.
The Owls came to a very abrupt end the other night.
They did. I was actually wearing my Arkansas shirt that
Probably why they lost.
my mom and sister went to Rice, my dad and grandfather went to Arkansas.
Yeah. Okay. So that's good to know. So I'm glad to hear that. We just got the financials in late this afternoon, so I've not had a chance to review them in detail. However, the good news is we have money and we are paying our bills
For this week.
for this week. That is
Specifically
correct.
the parking lot bill.
Did you get an agenda?
Well, Mike just took mine, so
Oh,
I'll
gosh, there's an extra. Okay.
I got one. Good.
We
So
got enough. We got enough.
that is all definitely good news there. But what I do want to tell you, here we go, we want to talk about our balances. So we are, we still have a significant number of people in arrears.
When did trash just came in?
We're at 12, and I believe we had 14. So 2 people paid their bill in full to get us caught up. So we are now at the point, we couldn't take action on
We had to
suspending
give them 30
because
days.
Jessica had sent out the letter stating that they had 30 days. So now that we've got the current list, we have, and the resident who had the bankruptcy filing that we've been carrying, we've removed from our books, so we know, so we've got a clean record going there. And so we are at the point now with the 12 people that have not paid or that are in arrears, we will be sending the notices to discontinue trash service. And we'll have best fit get that letter out tomorrow.
Okay, and we're gonna do that as we talked about before, The folks who are 200 or over.
That's correct. And the good news is that as a result of Jessica or Best Fit Solutions sending out some reminders, a lot of the $25 bills that were just for recycling, we cleared up the bulk of those. So what we're carrying right now are really recycling. Like one guy owes us $50 for recycling, 3 people owe us $25 for recycling, and one person owes us $2.50. And that's probably, could be an interest payment, they could have added wrong, don't know. But,
See, the
but
person who
here's,
owes us $50
here's-
routinely loses that much at poker, so
Right.
we should be able to cough up.
that's right. But here's the exciting news, is that we're June 1st, and we have under $8,400 in receivables outstanding. And normally, we would have $14,000, $15,000, so we're half of what we would normally have.
And I think the trash thing is really working well.
Absolutely, so,
Got
so
their
the
attention.
things that we've started doing last year and carried over and through the year have really paid off. And as part of, also as part of one of the reasons some of this recycling probably hasn't gotten paid, is people didn't realize that they were only paying a balance due for the remainder of the year. So Best Fit, beginning 2013, everybody will be on a 12-month calendar. Right, so it matches our fiscal year, so that makes things a lot easier there. So we are good to go in that aspect. So we'll get those letters out to all those folks for the receivables. One of the other things that we talked about briefly, honestly, we're talking about financials, is our insurance payment is coming up here in the next 30 days or so. And as you know, our insurance payment is about $13K a year that we always pay this time of year. And as a rule, we've always paid it in full, simply because that's what was done. Well, I was talking to Kim McCormick the other day when I went by his new office right there on Memorial. Have y'all seen it? That Memorial Insurance Company right there next to the
Firehouse of Wilchester.
yeah, that's our insurance agent. So if you ever need to know where he is or something like that, you can always just pop in and do that. But they are going to send us a new estimate over for our insurance because we do have the availability to pay that on a monthly basis. And what that revised estimate is going to be is telling us what it's going to cost to finance. You know, is it $100 a year or $500 a year?
It might not be worth it, since you've got the cash.
Understood. I don't think it's going to be expensive to quote unquote finance it, and no different than you paying your homeowner's insurance or your car insurance monthly and stuff like that. It would help us from a budgeting standpoint to not write a $13,000 check each summer. If we could write that $1,200 check or $1,100 check every month, that helps us from a budgeting standpoint.
Well, yeah, and it helps us with cash flow.
Absolutely.
In terms of, you know,
At least at the
this
beginning
way
of the
we
year.
would be out
Right.
the 13 grand right now.
No, only in June.
Right.
But you know, remember, I mean, at the end of the year, we're dipping down to zero, you know.
That's correct.
I'm just saying that on an annual basis, it's all the same.
It's the same, but from it's all about cash flow. It's truly about paying the cash flow $1,000 a month versus taking $13,000.
Just saying, I wanna know how much it costs for this.
Yeah, I mean, if it's,
Yeah.
if it's, you know, if it's gonna be 18% APR,
Understood, right. But if it's a nominal fee, we'll figure it out. So they're gonna put that together and send that to us. So that could work out well in our favor there.
all right.
So, but everybody's got a copy of the financials and look those over when you get a chance, next day or
Is
two.
that the email that we got?
From
Yeah,
Jessica.
I mean, it came out late today. That kind of thing, and it's also got all your age receivables in it as well. So, bylaws and deed enforcement, this is something that, I think everybody, so we talked about the unpaid annual fees, we're taking that action there. Our bylaws aren't very, they're not very direct, they're not black and white when it comes to maintaining our yards. It's a big shade of gray. But I do think that we should try to identify the homes that are just really
The outliers?
neglected their yards.
I would say from last year to this year, the number of rotten yards is increased. Or those yards that were worse with the drought, so the people that were borderline marginal are now full out ghetto.
Did you see the picture of the one he sent out?
Oh, yes, his neighbor, but that's not the worst one.
That's
I
not the
mean,
worst one.
And I hate to say it, they're all up and down Kimberly.
It's real tough. Well, the traffic there makes that area.
I know there's some really nice yards in Kimberly too.
There's some
Oh, no,
beautiful
no,
yards
what I'm
there.
saying is that a lot of those houses are rentals. What I'm saying is a lot of those houses are rentals.
Doesn't matter.
Speaking as a
Well, it
renter.
doesn't matter, but it does
Right.
kind of explain.
Exactly.
It's not, yeah. So what I'd like for
Even if
us.
you're a renter, you still wanna be a human being, I think, and then.
Well,
Right.
Well, yeah, but
Trim
is
your
it the
yard.
property
The
owner's
investment.
responsibility or the renter's
you
responsibility?
get somebody to.
And somebody not enforced it.
Exactly, and the property owner's not there, so.
But this boils down, I mean, this is not a new problem with Thornwood.
No.
And it goes back to the, just,
Oh,
yeah.
you started something.
Right, so our, like I said, our bylaws aren't very, like, when you look at the bylaws of Kingwood, it is very specific to how tall your weeds can be before they need to be extricated from the beds. And Kingwood is very proactive in sending letters out. Our bylaws are by no means that detailed, but I do think that there is latitude that allows us to send some really friendly reminder letters out to folks saying, hey, look, you know, your yard is not representative of the Thornwood community. I think it really needs to be a very polite letter, a proactive letter, and it's just something that's gonna, I think, have to come over repetition,
So
time
how
and
do
time
we pick
again.
the ones that get the letters?
Well, that's a good question. I think those that get the letter is pretty obvious. And then you've got those houses that are gonna be the shades of gray. You have several people in the neighborhood who are naturalists, and our bylaws can't really dictate anything about those yards, and that comes down to shades of gray. And I think that comes down to the homeowner indicating to us, writing to us, stating to us that, you know, hey, I'm a naturalist, I want this stuff to grow naturally, and it's caused. But you know what, it can still be manicured. It doesn't have to grow over the edge. You don't have to have things that are 10 feet tall. You know, there are some things that you can do, because you can have a naturalist yard. I got no problem with that. You can have
But
that.
it still can look less than a junk.
It can still look less than a junkyard jungle, absolutely.
Well, I
And-
mean, if it's a junkyard jungle, they, you know, if there's trash,
So,
things like
hold
that.
it, but-
That's what I was gonna say.
Right.
I like the one that I saw, which was, you know, the busted gate, the dead trailer, the hole kicked in
Kicked in
the garage
garage
door. I
door,
mean,
the
that kind of
ATV.
stuff is obviously
Right.
neglect, not a plan.
And I think it's gonna require us to just take some photos. You just have to go through, take some photos.
So we're not waiting for people to report their neighbors have a trash.
They haven't reported them, and they're not gonna report them, right? There's no real mechanized.
Certainly there's room for legislation, we don't wanna get in everyone's business, and if you don't want the yard of the month, that's great, that's fine. But,
Just curious if we're gonna have the, you know, patrol.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately,
I'm not looking to go Nazi on this by any means. I'm just looking to identify, you know, I bet there's not 10 across the neighborhood that are just hardcore
You
Karens.
said you sent 3.
We'll get to those in a second.
Okay, sorry.
yeah,
That's
so,
what-
so,
I mean, 2 are on my street.
you know, I think we get them both ways. I mean, there are some that are just obvious when you go by, you know, it's not right. But we also do sometimes get a complaint from, you know, the person who lives next door to someone, but you know, sometimes if you look at the yard they're complaining about, it's really not in the bottom 10 or 20th percentile of Thornwood yards. It's just that maybe that neighbor is a little
Doesn't
bit
like that
more,
style, yeah.
yeah, or is a little bit more sensitive. So, and ultimately it has to also come down to, you know, it has to, even as vague as the covenants are, you know, I mean, that can work in our favor or against us. Say, you know, it says has to be in keeping with the, you know, style or in keeping with the, you know, condition of other houses in the neighborhood. Well, I mean, that can mean almost anything.
I mean, all the things.
Right, you know, and I don't know if that's exactly what it says, but there are some, you know, kind of weasel words in there that we can use.
there is
for
certainly a
language.
level set by the, what you need to do. But, to the point though, the joker you sent the note to today with the broken garage door, the joker at the end of your street parks his cars in the dirt, you're gonna send them 100 letters and they're not gonna do a thing with it.
The guy at the end of the street, I've sent 7, probably. Right?
And
Which is why we're taking the action that we are with the city
Yes.
ordinance,
that's a lot of work that we're doing for one joker.
for one guy.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, you know, actually, I mean, it's easy to send letters, but to actually affect change, it's a lot of work.
Right.
And you know, you have to stick with it,
And,
so.
and we took a very proactive, and I made this decision, and if y'all disagree with me, let me know, but I made the decision to send those residents a proactive letter, letting them know what we're doing. Say, hey, look, you can take the action to change your own ways and save yourself a lot of money. Because
You don't need to do that 'cause the city's gonna send it.
it is my intention that once the ordinance is in place in our neighborhood,
We'll just have it
is to report
enforced.
that every day. I will report it every day, absolutely. And it's not my concern if they get the $150 ticket. It's really not.
You give enough rope to hang yourself.
Right. Because what'll happen is they'll get enough tickets that they won't pay, and then the city will come and try to collect, take someone to jail, or whatever their means is, put a boot on the car, whatever that falls
So,
under.
you know, we're, jumping around, we're getting ready to do our outpush on the cap. Do we want to maybe think about one down the road on lawn maintenance? And
Oh, absolutely.
We have a fine, we can assess a fine, and we can.
Absolutely, I think.
And then they're getting, I don't think you really get somebody that don't have the money to water their yard, but, you know, you should have the money to trash.
Right. I mean, I understand watering can be a difficult,
Super expensive.
a difficult thing to do. I get that. But yeah, no question about that.
Yeah, that's slow burning thing about that.
So, but I think we can, I would like to at least start compiling the list of folks as you see them. You'll just take the photos and send them to them. We just want to send them some proactive letters saying, hey, we're trying to raise the visibility of our neighborhood, and can you help us out here? Good neighbor kind of thing. I just want to make sure.
Is that, what you sent today was certified, and those are the worst examples. Maybe this proactive letter is not a certified letter, it's just a friendly one.
Just
Certified means not friendly.
They were, I just want to make sure that there's no, well, the one about the parking, I want to make sure that they don't say, we didn't get the letter. I don't want to get into that battle, doesn't matter, right? The other guy down the street, I think this guy just needs a little prompting. I think the son has moved into this house from his father's past. There's clearly some issues in that particular address with that one individual. So I think it'll get taken care of early. But that gate's I've been meaning to send that guy a letter for 8 months since that gate's been broken. And I just realized that the ATV's been out there for a while too.
When did the garage door open?
I didn't notice that until I looked at the photo. But because a couple years ago we sent that same house 2 letters to take action on because they had holes up in their trim,
That was horrible.
and they fixed them within 30 days. It just rotted out. He fixed them within 30 days and even cleaned up his yard.
Maybe just have to wake them up.
I think you just got to prompt the guy. That's all.
That's
That's
great.
it.
That's the best case.
Yeah. So in following with our yards, I think it makes sense to go ahead and put that in, identify any houses that have some basic maintenance that need to be done. Like case in point, we had a resident over here who was missing a column.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
With the cover.
And they fixed it.
And they fixed
We
it.
sent them
We
letters
just,
and they
it was
fixed
very, the letter that you saw, the Word document, is very simple. It's just very matter of fact. 30 days is a nominal time to get it done. So if you start coming across houses that need that, and some it's going to be a judgment call, like somebody might have a shutter that's loose versus a shutter that's hanging sideways or missing a shutter. Those are kind of the shades of gray that you kind of get into, but we can cross those bridges as we get to them.
And again, the missing column was actually from a resident that
It was, yeah.
brought that to our attention in a complaint. And, it's funny because I go past that house all the time. I never noticed there was a missing column because,
It's kind of hidden behind a tree too.
Well, yeah,
Depends
and,
on how you approach the house, I'm sure.
but if I lived next door to it, it would probably drive me crazy.
Yeah, it would. Absolutely. So, okay. All
Well,
right.
as long as we're just gonna target the worst 10 or 20, I don't have a problem.
I think that's where you got to start, right? Because as those improve, somebody's going to always fall above, right?
Sure, but at some point we can
There's
say.
always a doctor who's last in his class.
That's not what I meant.
It's the same kind of deal. Those 10 are going to get better, and somebody's
I
going to
kind
fall
of
above.
meant, I hope we're not gonna try to get, all the way up to let's all be conformity.
No, we're not talking about.
No.
We're not going Orwellian here.
Because I'll feel that way too.
Okay. So, nothing, this is really just kind of a quick little kudo for Texas Tropical Plants. Had a chance to meet with Mike. And so, you know, Mike gets it, he's on board with it. And more importantly, Mike wants to come to our meetings monthly and talk
Yes,
with
he
us.
does.
And so, I think it's gonna help Mike, it's gonna help Texas Tropical, and it's gonna help us to have Mike
He
come to
was
our
very
meetings.
frustrated to be caught in the tug of war with you and Lynn and me and him.
Right, that's fine.
And he said, you know, there are places where I just go to the monthly meeting, I'm like, I bet, you know, if you offer that, let's see how it flies, because that might be easier.
But he shouldn't, the tug of war should have been on his end, not our end, because we made it very clear that you were our contact. And once we made it clear that you were the
Actually,
contact,
when Mike jumped in the middle of it, it got very messy.
Yeah.
but it was necessary for Mike to get in at that point, because nothing was getting done.
I don't think there's proactive, I just,
You know, so,
if he'd been doing his job and
We had
notifying
a
you,
disconnect that I could not bridge.
Right.
He and I had a disconnect about the other.
his boss bridged it, so
I
it's
could
okay.
not, I
Yeah,
could
and-
not make him understand.
and I agreed with Mike when I was down there planning the pool. I said, you know, Mike, you know, you've done more in the last 48 hours than you have the last 4 months. And I was willing to wipe the slate clean and move forward, and I still believe that. I
Did
absolutely.
you see what all he did in here?
No, I'm not, no, I got here.
3 cartloads of tree limbs hauled out of here.
Oh, yeah, we saw those photos.
But, why didn't they come in January, February, March, April, why did we have to get to the point
So,
of calling?
He was in the maintenance mode, he wasn't.
And if we go to the park right back there, there's still probably another car of tree limbs that's still come down, they said it themselves, below 10 foot.
I think a lot of this has to do with communications though.
Because I
Remember,
didn't know to put it
you
on
know,
the list.
and we went to this firm saying, you know, this is gonna be good, because this is a firm that is, geared towards, you know, doing professional property management kind of thing, as opposed to just, you know, some landscaper with a truck or whatever. But we also have to remember, you know, they're accustomed to working with larger, you know, probably, you know, places where there's like a full-time property manager, you know, and a monthly meeting with the property manager is probably more, you know, maybe the way that they're accustomed to engaging, as opposed to, you know, random emails from the 5 of
I
us.
agree on that, but they still also have a contract that they presented that says, we'll cut trim tree branches below 10 feet. So it shouldn't take 5 months to get them to trim tree branches.
He did, I wasn't on my
I'm
contract.
just saying, I
Right.
think.
The good news is that
They may be more comfortable with the different way of communicating, rather than, you know, somebody sending an email and saying, you know, well, this.
So going forward,
Yeah.
I am perfectly comfortable working a punch list with Mike from Texas Tropical.
and only talk to Mike, don't talk to anybody else.
I have only
Good.
talked to Mike.
Good.
It took me a while to get his email, because they were forwarding it to him, and that wasn't working. Now that I've got his,
I would take Mike and I also copy David, the owner.
Len, is that,
Love him.
Len, okay, Len's Dave.
He's the owner.
But
Just
more,
copy him.
and more importantly, we'll get him the information so he can come to our meeting, do his deal, get in, get out.
Okay, so do you want me to invite
For the-
Mike to the next?
For the July.
Yeah, do you wanna do that as part of the board meeting, or
Gotta do the
can it be
first, like the
separate?
second,
We need to do
Which we're already
that.
gonna
I'll be
do.
out, yeah, I would say July 9th
right?
would be our next meeting.
Okay, so we would just cover that before the board meeting.
You wanna do it at 6:30?
Yeah, 'cause he's gonna wanna get home to his family.
Well, I mean, see if that works for him. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I still think that it's better, they could be proactive.
He would probably rather meet during the day, probably.
No, he said he comes to
Oh, okay,
homeowner
good.
association.
No, the
meetings.
evenings was not an issue, that was not an issue.
Excellent,
That was his
Okay,
suggestion.
you said for the next meeting, you wanna do July 9th
Right.
versus the 2nd.
Right, because I think that's, I'll be out of town July 2nd. Not that y'all can come to me without me if you want. Y'all can make all the decisions, and you can increase your pay even. while I'm
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
5%?
By a percentage,
Floating
but
percentage.
not by a net amount.
No, floating,
I was gonna say, I didn't believe that.
absolutely. So, okay.
Okay, so
Okay.
I'll put, the next board meeting on the calendar for July
Okay,
9th.
the sprinkler settings. Cecilia jumped up and talked to me about sprinkler settings.
Mhm.
I have not replied to her because it was.
Sounds perfect.
I figure anybody who wants to take over, you know, and monitor, and that's totally. I do not understand what Texas Tropical is proposing. They sent us, everything has been tested and this is how it's set, but there was no recommendation.
I didn't see that as a proposal, I saw that as just a fact sheet.
Monthly fact.
Correct,
Right.
but it seemed to me that we were watering too often, so.
I agree with you, and I didn't understand why we were watering, and so that would be a question of Mike, is there a way to ratchet, because water pours out of the Thorn Branch pool every day when they water in the yard. Because it
That's
gets so
some
much
of the
there.
sprinklers are right next to the drain.
There are some, right, there's no question about that.
But the only thing I have a question about, and I asked them about specifically last Thursday, and they said it's working, and I don't believe in this little strip up there. You just have to look for grass there, and it's not working.
How about this one entrance? You did ask him about that?
Yeah, and they said it was working. I don't believe that.
There's no way.
The old grass beds over there?
There's no
Are
way.
we talking about on the other side of the parking lot?
Yes. That little strip of grass is ours.
Right there by that guy's house.
Half of that, that's what median is ours. So I don't believe that's there. And I'm just, I've never seen it, because I'm not over here, but looking at the grass, it doesn't look like they get water.
Right. So, so that would, I think it's a, I think you said it best, Lois, like, if you believe because one of the things we want them to do is manage our sprinkler system, and if they think we're watering too much, adjust. If we're not watering
So
enough,
I'm gonna
adjust.
get back to Mike, I'm gonna reply to this and make sure it's to him, not to whoever sent it to me, and say, Mike, this seems like we're watering too often. I thought that we're, it's more, twice a week for an hour is better than 4 times a week for 20 minutes,
Now that I
What's
don't,
the recommendation you would give us?
I don't know what is, I can tell you, I water in 10-minute increments in my zones. And I've read that you can water as few as 7 minutes in your zones, and I can water 4 times a week. And I'm sure a lot of it has to do with how green and vibrant we want things, but
Actually,
some of those on there that were running for 40 minutes, I thought were just
Okay, there's a certain saturation. You reach saturation, at that point, you're doing nothing.
we're agreed, right?
But until you reach saturation, the more you water, the deeper and more healthy your roots are, the more drought resistant the grass is. But obviously, once you reach saturation, you're done.
Yeah.
So, and that's something that I manage in my yard, but I don't know how they would do it. So I'm gonna ask, what do you
Yeah,
recommend?
I think that's a great idea, absolutely. So, but we're
The
making,
other thing is mulch. Cecilia suggested a couple of inches of mulch on everything, but I have no idea what she means by everything. Is that in here?
I would think
The
across.
beds in here?
If Cecilia sent it, if she said everything, I would interpret that as the neighborhood. But that's it, he should be doing that on when he thinks our bed's needed, because we contracted twice a year for that. So, again,
With
this
additional charge.
is something that we don't have to worry about, we just,
We leave it to the experts, and they make a recommendation, we write a check.
right, that's the correct thing there, so, I don't know.
I will ask him the question, because what I found is if I leave it open-ended, he will pull his thoughts together and give me something very, very clearly he knows his business. Or if I make a suggestion, he shuts his mouth and does it. So I'd rather lure him into giving me the recommendation.
That's fine with me.
Right, give him, like
Fine
a
with me,
requirement, and let him recommend something.
Because whenever I say, how come we're not, he will actually answer me with reasons, and, it makes sense. It
No.
actually makes sense.
These will be things that we'll work through, especially when he starts coming to some of our board meetings.
Yep.
Those are the things that we'll work through, and we'll get to know each other and all that good stuff.
But
Okay,
anything y'all have a suggestion for, let me know, and let me add it to my punch list and work it like that. Because he seems to be amenable to, I send him a list, he's working the list.
very good, okay, cool. So we've gotten, a couple estimates on fences, and I've only gotten I've gotten the 2 estimates from David, and so based on that, I think he's pretty well done. Because I asked him, are you gonna quote the other work? He said yes, but it's been 2 weeks. So he essentially, he quoted,
The easy stuff, right?
the easy stuff, and, which he quoted the Kimberly embankment, refacing that, which we don't have that as a priority item. It's a like 2 item.
As a reference.
And then the other one is essentially the small little dead end off of Kimberly. And
That's way more important.
his recommendation was literally just concrete it up. Just be done with it, build you a concrete slope there and be done with
A
it.
little short.
And that bill was $2,900.
And we got a better quote than that. It was, and I'm sorry, I'm making from memory, it was on my desk.
From Brick Restoration.
From Brick Restoration, I want to say it was 1,600, and they were going to use CMU block. So it sort of looked like stone. It's not a cinder block, it's texture, so it looks like stone, and they would build an actual wall,
Right.
rebar,
So,
and all that. It wouldn't be a slope back So that seemed like a better deal.
Cause you know, a slope will attract.
Skateboarders. And we said the same thing, I'm like, hey, that's all right. You know?
Take that fence down, we're gonna put up a,
I don't know if
a
we can
ramp,
take the fence down, but,
So,
it's gonna come down shortly.
and then, and so as a result of that, the Bryant family is gonna go back and re-quote some of the fences. So we'll have 2 to 3 comparable quotes on all of our majority areas. Mr. Bryant, go get that probably tomorrow, Wednesday at the latest. He'll get that taken care of. So we'll be able to make those decisions, spend that
I
money.
talked to Georgia for restoration, they said we answer this week, we'll have it done week after before,
Okay.
or week after next.
Yeah, because we got good news over here. The homeowner's gonna share the expense.
Half.
And that's 3 sections, right?
3 sections, 2 columns, and they're gonna move the gun pool.
I love the gun portal though. That's what makes that fence.
It's like crenellation.
Okay.
Well, we're just listing.
Okay, so that's good news there on fences.
It's frightening. So, yes, that's $2,600 total, so our cost will be 13.
Great, that's great.
So we'll see what Mr. Bryant does, and then.
And plus, Mr. Bryant's gonna look at that flower bed as well, and
Get that fixed.
beef it up,
Go with
fixed,
it,
right.
Have that fixed.
So, okay, so, great news there. Okay, so pools, Bob, we are at how many memberships?
130, 3 of which are friends of Chrome.
130. Okay, so you're gonna get another one from me, eventually get another one from Mike. You paid? You're paid? So you're just waiting more from me. Not knowing what I'm letting paid. That's good. So, with a little bit of luck, hopefully we can maybe pick up another 10 more. That'd be great if we could get another 10 more this
Yeah,
year.
it's pretty much ramped down.
I would-
We're now into the, what is it, the first, second week of June.
June.
Kids were out of school in the first, so.
So that's great. Absolutely. So we collected an extra $1,300 this year because we went up $10. $70, $80.
Right, plus we got 3 friends of Chrome,
Mm-hmm.
200 pop,
We did.
versus 1 last year, so.
And we made, I think we're beginning a check for about $500 to $600 from the swim team.
Yeah, right,
Yeah,
for the league thing.
The league requirement. And then what do we get for how many we signed out here for the clubhouse, do you know? The
What do you
admin
mean,
fee?
the private parties?
No, for the, did any
It's not-
sign up just strictly for the clubhouse use only? Maybe that's a better question.
No, I mean,
Okay.
the way that I'm working the clubhouse is you have to be a full member. So that's step 1, but then all you need to do is opt in to each of the rules
And
and
you're
all
in.
chip in, and there's no additional charge.
Okay. Very cool.
And that way, if we have a problem with somebody, we can very easily just.
Find out who they are.
Have we already
You're
got
not
that
in.
rolling?
So we're in a pilot phase right now. We invited, I just basically took every pool member that was on the swim team volunteer list, because I figured they were good and upstanding people, and they also aligned with some of the families that have teenagers that were interested in the ping pong table and stuff, like the Friars and Lucases. And invited them, and the ones who replied and said, yeah, we'd be interested, I turned on their card. So I think that right now is about, I think there's 8 or 9 families, and it's been working good. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
very nice.
I've come in here, and the place isn't trash, I'm not stealing anything, in fact, the Hueys even brought more ping pong gear, so there's like extra paddles and balls and stuff now, so.
Do we might need to keep some extra ping pong balls around?
Well, I have some in
Oh,
the
you did?
closet,
Oh, okay.
but they brought their own, it's like, so, they're that, enthusiastic about, having that, it's like,
Right.
It's listed on the asset sheet,
Ping pong balls?
Put us over.
consumable.
Yeah, so I'm really happy with the way that's working. I'm thinking probably, this weekend, I'll blast something out, and say, actually, I'm not gonna blast something out. Let me
It's
put
going
this
well,
out there.
however you want.
It's going well for everyone. I guess, I know other people are interested in it, and, wanna know when the pilot phase is ending. And mostly those are the families that, come over here from both sides. And so what I thought I would do is rather than blasting it out, just update the, notice out there on the door to say, okay, you know,
Very good.
here's how to join.
Very cool. Okay. I think I sent all the others. Greater Houston Pool Management, we've had a change in our contact information over there. They had some internal problems with the people that we were working with and dealing with. And so Carl Shaw is our new contact, and currently he's come through for us when we had a big time of need. He showed up at our practice meet last week. It's kind of out of the blue because something wasn't working. So, and he and I had an opportunity to talk about some things where GHP had dropped the ball pretty severely, and we got those things rectified. So we gave GHPM another opportunity to stay on task with things, which he appreciated a great deal. So that's definitely good news there. So just keep all that information handy right in there, and we'll just kind of see how that goes. To my knowledge, there's not been any problems here this week. Correct? You've not seen, because you've not said anything, and I've not heard anything.
As far as the.
Quality of the pool?
No, I mean, we had that one problem with the pump earlier in the season.
Yeah. But they fixed that.
And they fixed that.
It's not hurting anybody. Fixed.
Yeah. But besides that, then we
Good.
just.
Okay. So, our
And
lights.
also, did we ask them to move the chemicals into the pump room instead of the storage room over here? And they did that, and they can stick with that, so that's also good.
Yeah, but that's bad having chemicals in the pump room.
But they have an exhaust fan, and we don't have an exhaust fan in the room.
Okay.
So the exhaust fan,
That's fine.
you know, is really, and it's what they asked us to put the exhaust fan, because actually it was.
Well, we put that exhaust fan in you put that in 2 summers ago.
Right, but they were storing full chemicals in both rooms. So it's not like, you know,
Okay.
it's,
We're
so,
getting away from it.
right, and I mean, if you look at anything metal in that storage room, it's just turning to rust.
And just so you know, Bob's little handiwork with that fan has us $1,000 ahead of schedule. What they were going to charge
Put it
us.
on
to put it
a
in.
new fan one.
Yeah.
No, it's, I mean, I bought the fan from Granger, you know, it was a $200
$200
fan.
fan, yeah, it's a nice little fan.
It was, you know, it's
Okay.
like a, you know, not just some cheap fan, you know.
Industrial.
Industrial, it wasn't like the stainless steel one that you can buy for $1,000, but, you know, so far, I mean, you look at it, it doesn't look bad at all. So it'll probably last a few more years at least.
Absolutely. Okay. So, our lights blew up over at Thorn Branch Pool last night, somehow, some way.
Yeah, it was pretty spectacular.
So, we don't really know what
I
that
got a
is.
question on that though, because he was out there and he fixed that last year. So is he
Doing it right.
quality competent, doing it right, cutting corners, electrician?
No, Ramon's not cutting corners. I don't have any reason to believe he's
So
cutting
no
corners.
why it happened 2 years in a row.
I mean,
No, I think it's something completely different.
It is.
I think this is a new issue. Hey, I was talking to Ross Wagner about that last night, and man, that wiring's 30 years old.
And that panel's scary.
The whole thing
Right.
is just a mess.
Well, we just-
And you know, when we get Ramon to fix something, he fixes what we ask him to fix.
But it's patched in.
It's patch,
It's
yeah,
patched.
it's a patch
Yeah.
job, you know, and then the next thing falls apart. I mean, it's all just, you know.
I mean, we're gonna have to bite the bullet in the coming years to really try to figure this out, to do it.
It's not that much to rewire the whole thing.
Well, ask him.
Yeah.
If Ramon does good work, ask him what it needs and how much it
There-
costs and how soon what's needed.
When I'm there tomorrow, I'll do some stuff. You know, as far as the electrical over by the pool, I don't think he is really interested in doing that because he's not familiar with the pool equipment, which I can appreciate, I can respect that, I
He
get
doesn't have
that.
to be familiar with the
I'm
equipment.
with
It's
you.
just,
I understand.
it's just circuits.
It's
We
circuits.
need
And
like
it's-
what we got here, a
Yeah.
new panel,
Right.
That's what I'm
okay, and rip all that other
The-
crap out, because right now it's like, there's a panel, and then some other boxes, and then,
Some-
some, you know, other
There's no
panels that are
covers,
falling
there's no
off, there's no
labels.
covers, I mean.
The light in the ladies' restroom over the sink doesn't work. I think that's a wiring issue.
That would be new. You sure it's not the light bulb? But
No,
here's the
they
thing, I
changed the light
think,
bulb out the other day, so it's.
but I bet the lights went out as a result of what happened last night.
No, it was not working until last night, when I changed the light bulbs out the other day.
Well, we've never had a problem with that light,
So that
so.
one light doesn't work. The timer in the ladies' room doesn't go off. When you get the wall timer, it doesn't turn off.
Is that?
Oh, that's new, I hadn't heard that.
And then I would actually question to say that the covers in the men's room on the bathroom, when you walk in, the electrical outlet cover is not to code, you know, that's a
Well,
pool
nothing's
area.
to code.
So that makes me question whether this guy is.
He's doing what we asked. He's not,
He's doing what we're
he's
asking.
doing what we're
It's
asking.
like,
It's-
you know,
If it's a blatant thing or not working.
church services has been there and they didn't point out any of that stuff. They're not, yeah, I mean, they're not.
You know,
I'm sounding really negative tonight.
When the guys from church services were here, they didn't go through here and look for anything that was not current or be improved when they did the $4,000 work back
this is a
there.
little different though, because this is, all the electrical in here is inside. See, this is an outdoor building with steel conduits that are rusting and, exposed to the elements.
you've gotta do it all to outside code.
You know, I mean, whether it passes inspection every year. It passes inspection.
What inspection?
Our pump room passes inspection by the city of Houston every year.
Pump room, that doesn't have anything to do with the lights.
The city inspects the company?
I found that
Before, I
really.
mean, they don't inspect anything unless you need a permit for
You
something.
have to have a pool for you have to permit for your pools.
Oh, yeah, well,
That's if the
that's,
pool is.
that's for pool equipment, that's to make sure that the pool,
Covers on.
you know, that the pump, that you have the necessary pump
No, I'm with
and
you.
filter capacity
Right.
and everything for a
But
pool of that
it's
size.
all part of the package deal.
Right, I don't think they're looking at the
They're
electrical.
not paying, I talked to Carl about the other day, he's like, said city looks at really about a handful of things, because they got so many pools to look at, and they're just looking,
They're certainly not checking the lady during time.
right, they're not even checking your flow meters. It's like, you know, what they would do is be able to see at the bottom of the pool, do you have the correct drain? Yes, great, okay, good. If you have, you know, a water feature, do you have the correct pump that provides the chlorine on there for that? Great. Okay, do you have a kid's pool, do you have this cutoff? Great, all right, let's move on. That's
I
it.
mean, another part of the
So-
problem is that all of those electrical boxes and panels and circuit breakers and stuff are in the pump room with the chemicals
Corrosion.
and everything,
Right,
and they're all
absolutely.
rusting away.
Right.
And really, the right way to do it would be to put an outdoor panel like what we have here on
On
the
the
outside
outside.
wall.
Correct.
Next to the panel.
Yes.
And I agree.
You know, where it's not like, although that room's not as enclosed as the one
You know,
here, but.
Do we wanna have church come out and just at least give us an estimate on that? I mean, I was very,
I
Estimate
think
from them.
it's time to get estimates on that.
okay, cause,
You can't make
there
decisions.
is a three-phase connection over there, just like we have here. Now, we're not gonna, so we'll have to make a choice, cause we have a three-phase pump motor over there. So if we go to single phase, which would be cheaper for us to install a panel, we gotta buy all new pump equipment, because we have to have single-phase pump motors and not three-phase pump motors. So, we're gonna save money in place A, but we're gonna spend money in place B, because we have three-phase pump motors
How do you
over
know
there.
they're three-phase?
Cause Carl and I were talking about the other
Kind
night,
of one.
and count the lines going into the building.
I thought three-phase was just the grounded power. You're talking
No,
about
no,
the
three-phase
big
is
honking plug, aren't you?
Well,
No, it's
yeah,
different.
it's.
But again, so if we all agree that we want,
Breakers and stuff there, I'm not sure, so.
I'm not gonna pretend.
Anyway, church guy
We'll call church, I thought did a
very
great,
confident,
great-
but expensive as hell.
they were expensive, but here's the thing is that when we're not on the board, anybody who comes in here, they can go there, they can pick up the phone, call church services, they get a complete record of it.
And
And
church
plus-
services will give us a list of all the things that could be fixed, and we can pick and choose the
Likely
purchases.
that they will,
Because they'll want all that business.
yes, but you don't wanna pay them for.
No, but you have them breaking out.
No, understood.
Right, the other thing with church though is, I mean, they're totally by the book.
Totally by the book,
So, you know, there
And-
will be a permit from the city.
and they will deal with the city.
And
And then,
inspection by a
and
licensed
then an
engineer.
inspection is city electric permit inspection, so the problem you wind up with a firm like that is if you pick and choose, okay, the inspector's not just looking at what you chose to fix. You put in a new panel and he says, well, this over here isn't up to code,
Right.
they're not gonna pass your inspection.
But church gives us the list,
Right.
You get the full
and then
package.
we might decide who we want to do which piece, but to have the whole list seems like a very good value.
You get the full piece. I mean, there's no,
I would love to have church do the whole, do
You
it
know,
all, do it right.
Ross has got a friend of his who's a master electrician. And it's really all you need is you gotta have a master electrician.
Mhm.
He does the work, but doesn't just in Germany.
Right, and I said, Ross, I said, this is a great project for someone who wants to make some extra money on the weekend. You know, and so he's gonna, because, I mean, I'm not against, I mean, you know, you can spend $10,000 on that facility, rewiring and putting everything in. That's a big number to spend. Um, so that's just something to look at. Okay. Long story short, our lights.
We have some problems with the big fixture of swimming under there.
Right. That's correct. So, so as part of some fun, I think we need to add music to our pools. And so I sent a couple things out to Bob and Mike because they're far better in that category than I am. And Bob came up with a great idea. Bob found some speakers.
Well, no, we don't need any two here.
You know, but we might need to roll some brackets.
Yeah.
So Bob came up with a set of speakers for about $46.
$54 per pair for outdoor speakers. They're good quality. It's monoprice, which is
Yeah.
good source for that kind of stuff. And then as far as you don't need like a full receiver or anything.
Well, that comes a question is do we want to have to allow people to bring their iPod, or would we want people to be able to turn on the radio if they didn't have an iPod? Amazingly enough, some people don't have iPhones or devices that have music stored on them.
Right. Well, I mean, you
And so
can,
by
you can
having-
also plug a radio into it, you know.
But I was trying to make it easier for our folks to not have to bring a radio. That's where I was going with
You just
that.
get a separate tuner.
If we could find that,
Mike has several tools.
you know,
I'm just kidding.
if we could find something that would be, you know, you could flip on the radio, have at it, you could plug your iPod in, have at it, go.
Right.
You know, clearly it would have to be in some sort of, I'm not concerned about somebody stealing it, which may or may
It
not
just has to
happen.
be.
But it's gotta be out of the
but
weather.
accessible.
Right.
It's harder in that pool than this one.
Well, here we could put it in the porch area, and that would be sufficient. Over at Thorn Branch, you have that breezeway that you come through.
And I would elect to put it either in the men's or the women's first entry area there, because I think if it's in the centralized breezeway, it gets a lot of exposure.
Yeah, I was thinking.
And someone might wanna jump the fence thinking it's worth something.
Okay, yeah, sure.
You know, but I mean, I think it's a project we could do for $250 a pool,
Oh, yeah,
And if-
if not less, really.
if not less, and so, you know, I wanted to get y'all's thoughts on your ideas, and, I mean, it's a homegrown
Yeah.
project, we'll do it,
I second the motion.
rock and roll. Okay, so we got,
All in favor?
No problem.
Eric,
No, I don't use the pools. Actually, what I'm thinking was, if I go to the pools, bring earphones. That was my response to this entire thing.
okay. So, we'll take care of getting the speakers, and then we'll just work out a source radio of some sort, somehow, some way.
Right. I'll do a
My
little more
husband and I
research, I didn't think
pay
about
for
the radio
inside
angle.
calls.
But
Yeah.
Sure, again, I mean, we can sell it.
We don't have it, I mean, some of the things I looked at, you can play your own CDs, and like, okay, he's gonna want to bring a CD, like, if they did a birthday party, they may want to have a birthday party
I'm
CD.
thinking-
But again, they can, you know, it's like with the iPad, you know.
But I don't want people to have to rely on ringing device, if it cost us an extra $60.
Okay, the problem is if you leave a device there at any time, then you have to expect it to be stolen or broken.
I accept that responsibility, I got no problem with that.
Okay, you can get little cheap CD players that have an iPod dock, that have a radio. I mean, I used to get my kids these things
Oh, yeah.
for like bedside, you know.
Yeah, but the question is, does it put it out enough power to be able to power those speakers and give you a good quality
Speakers,
sound?
absolutely. If that's what it's for.
Yeah, but think about the size of the area that you want, I mean, you're not trying to blast music all the way to the street.
Are you playing music for the picnic area here, or are you playing
If you're-
music for
if-
people in the pool?
If you're down at the other end of the pool lounging, I think you should be able to hear the music. I'm not saying it has to be 273 decibels.
Right.
Right.
I mean, I'll tell you here, the problem with that is if you put music on loud enough, like on this porch,
That-
that you can hear it on
it's
the
gonna be
other side of the pool.
really loud right
People
here.
on this side are getting blasted out.
Well, and that comes down, I know, to the quality of the speaker.
No, I mean,
Is
just,
it-
it's too loud
It's just too
for
loud.
the people who are, because, you know, a lot of people are gonna be hanging out on this side too.
Right.
If you wanna hear the music, you
And
sit
we
on
need to
this
get
side.
some serious speakers.
Well,
Speakers,
that comes into the other question about, you know, running speakers. They even looked at some really cool rock speakers.
Rock speakers.
And that kinda gets to be expensive, it'd be a fun, great little project to do,
Right.
to be able to put some rock speakers out, and that way, you know, and even some of the rock speakers have variable controls for audio.
I think also you probably don't want something that's so loud that it's gonna, um, blare the music out for the whole pool, because, you know, somebody may wanna listen to music and somebody may wanna be,
They may wanna be away from music, understood, right.
So I really think that just playing music that's comfortable volume for the people at these first 2 or 3 tables out here is sufficient. People who don't wanna hear the music, you just walk to the other end of the pool.
And you know,
I
if it
mean,
gets incredibly
if you want that
popular,
kind of music, you know what, you should hire a DJ and they'll bring the system, right?
it's reasonable, and if it gets extremely popular, and we need to work out another solution for next year, that's correct.
Let's go with the two regular speaker thing for now. I know that if I was at the pool, I would not want any music whatsoever, because I don't like what the kids like right now.
Well, you know, that's gonna be the other thing, is that, you know, we would post up a sign that simply says, you know, use music play music that's appropriate, reasonable.
Well, I can't say appropriate, reasonable, you basically
You
need
know.
to make the rule that,
No
you know.
profane lyrics,
No, no,
no
no, 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 no.
miscegenation.
Well, yeah, obviously it has to be, but you know what, it's basically,
I don't think it's gonna be a problem, but
no,
I do think
I
we're
don't
trying to
think
make
it's
it
wrong, because
easy.
people play the radio here.
Right,
You
absolutely.
know, and nobody ever complains about
Complains.
that. So this is just, you know, would sound a little bit better than just a portable radio sitting on the table. Anyway, I will, I'll follow up on that with, some ideas and see what we can do about the radio requirement.
Lamps. Yes,
Uh,
we still
so-
do that.
The guy is coming, Brett, can't forget Brett's last name, but he was the guy that was recommended by the Wilchester Homeowners Association. He and his brother-in-law are coming over to give us estimates to put in the 3 lamps. His forte is gas, but as Thomas said, I don't know that we have gas in our pool, but his brother's a certified electrician. They'll come over and give us the estimate. You know, I said, look, I need to buy a new lamp, very simple, black birdhouse, matches our neighborhood, put 3 installed, and he's like,
2 over there, 1 here.
yeah, that's what I remember we
Yes.
committed to, is 2 over there, 1 over here. So, he'll be out between tomorrow and Thursday next week. So we'll be getting lamps, because we agreed on spending that money
A year ago.
last summer, I think. So we'll get those lamps in this summer for sure. That'll be nice. Yep, what I don't, but you're gonna have to tell me, where did the lamp, where was the lamp gonna go over here? Was it gonna go by the street, or was it gonna go by the entrance of the gate? Or by the
It's
driveway?
gonna go basically between the driveway and that wall.
Right, kinda like smack dab in the center of that square?
Well, there's a flower bed there, but yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
we're in front of that
in
flower
front of the
bed,
flower bed,
closer to
yeah,
the street,
street.
like you would have, you know,
Yeah, okay.
just, you know, the same as all the other
3
houses.
steps back from the street.
Yeah.
10 foot.
All right, good, okay, that's kind of what I thought, all right, so good news there. So, kudos to Laura for the parking lot, looks
Right.
great.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Okay,
A
so
lot
help,
of people have said thank you so much.
Hooray!
That's
Looking for
good.
2 years.
That's good, and there's a big event Friday night here, we're having 50 to 60 people,
Good.
to be able to test it out, absolutely, so that's good news there.
Well, you know, we actually ended up spending the amount of money you gave us, but we got the conduit.
Right.
But we got a ton of stuff for that, yeah. Have you been, anybody been out to the park to see
I
that?
walked it,
I walked out there, but I didn't mess
We
with
do
it.
have to fill in this hole back here.
And so the only thing we need to do is just run our electrical line.
They did not put a break at the gate.
Yeah, and that wasn't the police about that.
But
Who at their gate?
We had put it where the gate mount park is, I'd asked to run wires up there also, so you can either short wire run.
I don't believe there's any wire in that conduit.
No, there's not.
No, there's not,
But
yeah.
it would be
That's next.
trivial to,
Dig it out.
So we're gonna
Yeah, I
dig
mean,
that
if
out.
you're just doing it in the dirt.
Right, so we can fix that, so I didn't get too bad shape, but yes.
Okay.
But it'll be nice, and then that's the next project, we need to, this
yeah.
park, yeah. But I think it's good.
Well, while Ramon's out here, I'll have him come over here and quote that while he's here.
Just remember to get, we want a box at the gate as well as at the
Got it.
tree.
Okay.
This
We'll
is
do
the
that.
power gate right there.
I'll make,
I will
dig that
treat
hole.
4x4 post, I think a 2 receptacle box would be perfect.
As opposed to 2 or 4. If we're doing 2, it would make sense to do 4.
Well, you know, 2 outlets.
Yeah, okay,
So
yeah.
it's 2 lines.
Follow it, okay, okay. All right.
And that'll be enough power.
Okay, so refresh.
And I think it should be 2 different circuits though. 1 circuit, 1 circuit, 1 circuit, another circuits, so that way we can run a margarita machine out.
Two
in front.
circuits to each break,
Two circuits.
2 circuits total, and
but split in
at
half.
the halfway point, these two are on the circuit and these two are on the circuit.
So A and B at both places.
So that way we can run margarita.
Reset. Okay, all right, good news. All right. So, now refresh my memory on this though. Did we ever talk to him about taking these? Because I know we had agreed we were going to take these poles out. These white poles that are here at the front entrance.
Yeah, that was discussed, I don't know if the contract, and also was.
Now, I don't know that we ever discussed it with your guys.
Was an ice crest clean line, and they were gonna dig the dirt back, and this is what, this is the way we like to pitch.
Right, but I don't know what we did.
I don't know if that was this.
I know we did it with my guy.
Yeah.
That was my guy.
Right.
So, here,
It did not get translated, it got lost somewhere.
I'm not, it's no big deal. Do not worry about it. We can pull the poles out, we'll hook them up to your truck, fill them up, we're good to go.
And when we pull those out, we've got a lot of heavy stuff back there.
We need to do that, so. I'm home all weekend if you're doing nothing, pick up the trailer, count the big time. It's really weird just driving around the city. The kids in the
Hauling
back.
stuff around.
Jumping Bronx is not great.
So, okay,
Yeah.
alright, but parking lot looks great.
Excellent.
You know, I can't tell you, I'm glad we pulled the trigger on that. I know it's something we've talked about for years, prior to all of us being on the board together, and it's going to pay off.
Tell Courtney, she actually handed me a stack of bids when she left.
Good for her. She's in Ireland, I think.
One thing that's not been on the pool list that I like to propose is over at the North Range Pool, a little vent at the bottom of the bathroom, lower than was the perimeter, at least on the outside, facing that go to the
Right.
flower beds. Maybe just put that 6-inch perforated hardy, just goes to maybe it'll still breathe a little bit, but it'll contain the dirt.
Yeah, or even just some of that like hardware cloth,
Oh, yeah.
metal.
Metal mesh.
Will that keep the dirt from going
No,
through?
nothing, it won't keep the dirt if it was mesh.
It's not critical.
It's gotta be solid.
It's dirt. I got in there and pressure washed the other day, and the amount of dirt that came out of it was vile.
And what is it, $100 with a hardy plank?
Yeah, it's cheap.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think.
We just gotta make
you
sure
don't
paint
need the
though.
ventilation there.
No, the
Because
ventilation
you've got
is,
the ventilation,
it's an open ceiling.
it's an open ceiling, and you also have it ventilated there on the side of the pool where, you know, where you're right up against the pool deck,
Pool
so.
side, right. So I would.
It's probably built to ventilate from all
We
sides.
just trim, and that's the thought, that it doesn't work. We
But
just
we
trim
want-
it out a
we want
little
to
way, so
block
it looks
it.
consistent from the front.
Right.
I still have the code, by the way.
This is this hardy plank, it could go below the grade and the slab.
Excellent. Sounds
So
like. a
I'll
good
look
idea.
at it.
Okay, very good. So, speaking of, did you ever talk to Lopez about fixing our patches and stuff?
No, I
over here?
dropped them all.
Okay. Because I know you were gonna ask him about repainting these walls as well, since it all peeled,
Right.
because we would need the leftover paint. Did he leave all the leftover paint in this back room that he used for here and
Paint's
there?
in the back room.
Okay.
And the can's busted out.
So we've got the, as long as the paint's good, don't care if the can's
Right.
good. Okay, very good there. Okey doke, so that's super cool. Committees, so, from communications, Bob is all gonna speak to us about our homework assignments.
Right, and, so I did get something from Laura,
I'm at 379 words.
right.
Stop, just send it.
So just send it.
But there's no closure in it yet, that's the
Oh,
problem.
well, then that'll flush it out for you, so, in conclusion, you know, I mean, you're right, this is what I'm going to tell you, then you tell them, and then, you know,
I strongly prefer Mexican jumping paragraphs. I can't do it.
well, that's why I want something from everybody, so that we can, you know, kind of spin the thing different ways. Hopefully people won't get tired of reading the whole thing. So,
When do you want those from us? I'm sorry.
Last week.
Last week.
Last week, yeah.
Alright.
I mean, it's when you want the newsletter out, you know?
Because we can't really get started on getting, I mean, the idea that we're gonna sign people up for this, we haven't even talked to them about it. We can't sign people up for it until we talk to them
When's the
about it.
last homeschool week?
We're doing it's next week Monday. We're doing just fine with.
Let's, we need to have it ready by out by 4th of July, so our 4th of July.
Agreed.
Oh, absolutely.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
We're progressing well. We're doing the right thing.
everyone have it by next Tuesday?
I'm trying to finish mine tonight.
I started mine and then I tabled it.
I did mine all in one big crush.
I will let you know that as far as, you know, the rest of this week, I'm not gonna be probably, I mean, I'm hardly even able to keep up on my emails because I'm doing this, the Cub Scout day
Right.
thing.
Oh, that's right, I forgot you're doing that this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's that going?
It's great.
Very cool.
Excellent, really enjoying it. But, you know, I get home at 3:30 and I'm just totally exhausted, so. This weekend, I can start looking at that, and
Don't worry
if
about
we have sufficient, you know, stuff to put something together, then we'll definitely do that. And
Because at the very least, we know we can put something together electronically, at the very least.
at the very least, yeah, I mean, we will do that as well. I mean, my whole idea, that we talked about this last time, is, you know, we need to push this out through every channel available. So, paper, newsletter, the emails, door to door, you know, whatever it takes.
And then we can also include the thing on the city parking in this. So we have
Now,
to
the
notify.
newsletter needs other things in it, yes, and I think all the stuff that
We're
we're talking
required by the
about.
city is to have that.
Right, no.
So I'll leave that part also, the city
Okay.
part.
All right, so that's good news there, so, all right. So, very exciting. So talking about communications, if you, just as a reminder, if you talk to residents or, you know, people say that they want to use any of the facilities, make sure you get as much information as you can, and so we get it updated on the calendar. Because our facilities are actually taking off this year. I think we're up to about a half dozen events being held at the pools.
They're like private parties and stuff.
That nature,
You know,
absolutely.
we're making money on those, so, that's good, and yeah, it is getting a lot more, use, and I think a lot of that is, I mean, I'll tell you, I was over here on Sunday afternoon, and it was just a regular Sunday afternoon, there was no event going on or anything, and I've never seen so many kids and families at this pool. I mean, there must have been 10 families, and,
That's 25 kids.
yeah, easily.
Yeah, it's good.
So it's really, and I think the new furniture and, you know,
It's
facilities
come
and
together.
stuff is, and just, you know, the continued kind of way that the demographics of the neighborhood are changing.
Yeah.
When I was at the ladies' luncheon, somebody said to me, and of course, I now no longer remember who it was, you know, I finally went over to the other side to see that pool, and theirs looks so much nicer than ours. I'm like, use it, it's ours too. And three other people are like, really? It's a lot nicer? I said, it's got a clubhouse, it's got more furniture, it's got better landscaping. I said, it was the one for the whole neighborhood. This is one that got squeezed in as an extra. That one's the original landscape, gorgeous plush. Go use it.
Well, the only reason you're landscaped here is because you had a resident who did it.
Well,
Originally,
that's true,
this place,
that's
from
true.
what I
Well,
understood,
and
it was pretty
the
barren
other
over here.
one was in a really sad state at that moment.
No, I understood, you're right.
Right, but the other one, you know, I mean, the other one, forget landscaping, I mean, the other one doesn't even have as much green or grass or.
That's
Yeah, there's
right.
not as real
And
estate.
it's more like, it's the swim meet pool, it's
It's the
got
swimming pool.
lanes, you know?
Yep.
This is
Yeah.
more like the recreational,
Yep.
Absolutely.
and that's just, you know, I mean, it is what it is.
But we're coming along. Over
But I'm
to
just
TV.
saying, the word gets out various ways, including the ladies' lunch.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, you know, like the Sunday when I was over here, I don't know if it was half, but certainly more than a third of those families were from the east side. The Hibbets were here,
Very good.
Oliver's were here, and some other people that I didn't recognize from over here.
Yeah,
So
they go back and forth, actually.
Yeah.
yeah,
Nothing wrong with that at all. It's good.
So to that point, can we put just a quick little email out tonight or tomorrow, invite everyone to come to the swim meet on Thursday?
yeah.
Let everyone.
I saw your note on that, and I think that's a good idea.
So y'all having hot dogs at every swim practice or something?
No,
We're making
meets.
money with that.
But at every meet?
Not necessarily, well, we're having it for another one. I don't think I have, do you have any pictures from the meet by chance?
Somebody
Just
sent
those
some
two I
pictures.
sent on, we have
You,
those.
okay, you did send, okay.
I mean, if you want pictures, talk to, what's his name?
David.
Dave Jones, yeah.
I just call him and just ask him for his best three pictures.
Sure.
3 plus 1 of those two, that's 4, that's fine.
Right.
Okay, all right, we can but, I can send it to Chuck, and then Chuck will.
I have a
I
set.
haven't seen them.
Oh, you have David's?
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
because Natalie's in Cub Scouts too, so.
Okay, all right, good
I can
news
just
there.
get to him through her.
Okay, so, the next big neighborhood event coming up is July 4th event, and Bob, I know that you've kind of been coordinating that the last few years, and you're.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that, Lisa Lucas is.
Well, she's the coordinator, but I know that you, I guess you've
Last
been
year,
the big
I kind of
liaison to
hijacked
the
it,
board.
and this year, we're probably expected to do
No,
more
I took
organization.
my
I haven't talked to
purse
Lisa
just a
about
moment
it,
ago, and I got
she's
my own beat
gonna,
on
She didn't say they wanted to do it.
oh, I mean, we gotta do it.
They wanted to do the brisket part.
That's right, so she liked the, burgers and dogs and chicken, like we did last
I
year.
will be happy to do chickens again.
Okay, and you and I can do burgers and dogs, just like last
You're
year.
a pro by now.
And I think with that, she will say, we're not even gonna bother with a brisket, and we'll do it, a big,
Is she offended, or is she mad that it's changed course?
No,
Okay.
she thought it was great. She was.
I got the impression she was afraid she was gonna be overwhelmed by people coming from the other side and people who hadn't always come. And what it turned out to be is the people who had always come were surprised and delighted to see all these other people and all these other options. And it really just took off in a whole new direction, and the woman who was doing the brisket, or whose family was doing the brisket,
Right.
I sat with her for a while, and she said, this is just, I don't have to do this if I don't want to. I mean, this is taking off on its own.
She kind of
Well,
makes it
because
sound-
what it was is it had evolved into one of these traditions where it was like all on her shoulders.
Because the people who'd been doing it originally handed it off to her son, and then he's like, Mom, I'm going away now, y'all do this some other way. She was
Right.
afraid she would be left holding the bag, so it's
Right.
way better to just say, no, we got this.
Okay.
It
Exactly.
was excellent, that's all.
It was excellent, and
The people who are expecting brisket will just have to be brought up to date.
You know,
They can bring their own.
I don't think anybody really,
things change.
Yeah. So
Things change, that's good, okay, so, and it is 4th of July, the actual day?
On Wednesday.
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, that's, and they'll have a little parade with the fire truck and the whole deal.
very cool.
In fact, I know, who's telling me, Goldberg?
The wrestler?
No, it was on Bison. I can't remember his first name for some reason. Tom Goldberg, right. He's already lined up a fire truck and is taking care of the parade bit of it. And then I'll just, I gotta get with Lisa and see if, what role she wants to play in it. It can be, as much or as little as she wants.
And we contribute to the event, the association does, I mean, we cover some of the costs.
Aside from the cooking.
I know actually, last year, we made money on that event, because they do collect, like, I think it was $10 per family or something.
That's great.
To cover the meat, and all of that, and she actually, tracked all of that, and we got money back. I think we bought a plastic table for Thorn Ranch, one of those,
Keep it alive.
folding tables. And, she bought like this clock and some, stuff for the clubhouse, from the money.
If you think there's some things that, we need to contribute to it to make it just a little bit better, go get it, do it.
Yeah, so I will follow up with Lisa.
Okay. So, that being said, let's make sure we have music for the event set up here, ready to go.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a month away, so
Make sure we have that.
We can get that done.
Okay, all right, very good. Super Neighborhood, y'all went, you went, right? And did Tom go too?
Yes.
Stockton?
Yeah, Tom's there. So Mike met briefly with Oliver Pennington.
Event his ear.
Nice.
He did on the way out, and then someone from his staff emailed me
They did follow up.
that they're going to follow up. I haven't heard anything, so I need to.
You kind of need to,
Did I send you all that email?
We did, yeah. I want to say Kristen was her name for some odd reason.
Kristen, I can remember seeing that today.
right. The one recommendation I would make on stuff like that is, like, in your email, you had like a list of different kind of almost unrelated things. And when you work with like this council office or whatever, it's a lot more effective if we can just break it up into separate requests.
Okay, and then.
You know,
Chase
so
them
next
separate.
time, yeah, exactly, because, you know, they may, for one thing, they may say, well, you have to call 311. For something else, it may be something that they can help us escalate if that's what's required.
It's
But
gonna be
if you
six
give them
different
a list
departments.
like that,
Yeah, there were 4 items, and but there were 2 distinct, I mean, it's drainage and embankment. So if you break it down that way, it's really 2 items.
right,
Right.
So,
And you asked for the land on Kimberly to be deeded over to us.
yeah,
well, it's, yeah. So,
Which I thought was a good point.
they
Absolutely.
said something that's, I can't remember, like a strip deed or something?
It's not just an
What was it called?
adopt an easement, is really what
nuisance
we've got
deed,
here.
or what is it called?
No, it was
Protection
something
deed,
like
or-
a,
yeah.
yeah, but basically it's a deed where it actually, you don't actually get any land from it, because the problem we have over there is that's right of way.
Yeah, right, well, that's
Okay,
the word I meant.
and in theory, okay, that apartment complex could put a hole in the fence and put a driveway right out to Kimberly. Because their property adjoins the Kimberly right of way. There's nothing to stop them from doing that.
Separate.
That's why I want to push the deed to us, so we can stop.
Right, so, you know, they wouldn't necessarily deed the whole thing to us, because there's gotta be some right of way. But there's apparently a way that they can
It was 6 inches.
give us, essentially, it's like,
This line?
it's 6 inches, or I don't know if it's even like 0 inches as far as how it looks on the plat, but it prevents that, it's like a 0 inch line that sits in between a right of way and that property.
So that they can't jump to the street.
Okay.
Right,
I can't imagine they want to, because they have a traffic pattern in there that's pretty,
Yes, but one day
No.
they tear that thing down.
the next owner, okay, yeah.
It's like,
One place is never good.
but you know, that's my comment at the beginning. That problem's been there for 40 years. The cemetery drainage has been a problem there for 40 years.
Okay. Well, very good.
so, yeah, just, you know, stay on top of that,
Yeah,
and
and I
if
have
you can
no-
kind of break it out into separate chunks, it would be easier for them to track and for us to track.
My next follow-up will be on all about the embankment.
Yeah, you know, just, you know, whatever the highest priority is. And then the other one is the bid over on Eldridge, which is kind of related, because we're looking to, you know, either have access
If they say
or
1 to 1.
deed it over to us as well, although that one's a little different, because that's not just a right of way, that's actually city land.
Your neighbor get everything picked up okay once they?
Well, yeah, but then there was that other complaint, so. And actually, you know, if we do go ahead with, you know, like we were saying, follow complaint letters, that's probably, one of the ones that should be on the list. We'll see a number of complaints, not officially, but, enough, just kind of word of mouth and stuff, and, you know, depending on, you know, at any time, it may be either bad or worse.
Sure. I would suggest if we see that dog out this summer for their family vacation, the popular food, that we just call the SPCA. and let the-
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's not even a board matter, you know,
That's a neighbor calling on a concerned neighbor call.
I think that's me and Shelley.
Is that really, they just leave their dog locked up?
I was thinking locked up,
While they
it was
leave?
left outside,
And the bugs got in his food.
and the bugs were in the food, it was disgusting. And then the other thing is
It's
they built
neglect.
that fence out there, which.
It's on city property.
Well, there's the one on city property, but then there's also the fence. They basically built a fence, so they have like a gate across their driveway, but then from there, the fence comes forward to the curb, which you can't do, because it's gotta be set back. So that's a simple weed violation right there.
So we could send her, send
Yeah, but I haven't seen anything to fix that on this end of the street. Is that the biggest problem in the house?
I was gonna say.
No, that's not the
much
biggest problem,
simpler.
but it is something that is clearly actionable.
Right.
And so, you know, we basically can use that in.
How does that affect the neighboring house where the fence runs parallel to Eldridge that's not set 25 feet back though? You know what I'm talking about?
Across the street, actually.
Across the street.
Uh,
Because that fence comes all the way down their driveway to the street front as well.
Right, but this,
What Bob is saying is, this is.
But it's because they made a deliberate I know exactly
This
what it looks like.
the driveway's here.
Right.
So she's got a little picket fence that comes right up to here.
So is the picket fence the one that's in question?
That's the one I'm saying.
Oh, okay, all right, I got it, I follow.
Yeah,
Yeah, that doesn't affect anybody, but it is actual, so leverage.
exactly.
Okay, well, we can take that under advisement. Okay. So, and construction is, I understand, beginning because apparently traffic
Down to one
is.
lane each way.
Already?
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause I got-
turn on the Eldridge, whoa!
Well, yeah, Chuck Twitter to the swim teams, like, don't take Eldridge.
Right, and I will, I'm actually also planning to send out a blast just to remind people of that. And I'm very happy to report Wayne was parked here in the driveway, just waiting to ticket people that come out of the parking garage and make that illegal,
Okay.
Into
left
oncoming
turn.
traffic?
Yeah, where they go on the wrong side of the Esplanade.
Is that
to-
people who live here and are
Well, that's
coming
why
out
I'm
of the
gonna
bank?
blast it out, so, because I don't want our people to get
Right.
tickets.
Yeah.
But also, you know, and that'll discourage our folks from doing it, if they know, get down to business.
So in conjunction with that, I've ordered a no turning around sign,
Yeah, I thank you for that.
that we'll post here at our driveway. So if we can get our camera operational,
This weekend.
yeah,
Sure.
the sign will be here in a couple of weeks, but we're gonna post a sign up here that says no turnarounds.
No U-turn?
Well,
It says, it specifically says no
trucks that
truck
come into
turnaround.
this, loading dock over here, they can't, go in this way for some, or they wanna back into the loading dock.
That's what.
It says
They can't-
private
they can't
driveway,
back
no
in because of
turnaround.
the Esplanade, so what they do is they come down here and then turn around in our parking lot, which is probably why the front of our parking lot was such a mess.
The question is, what's the enforcement mechanism?
Well, it's gonna
Well,
be,
there's no enforcement mechanism, I mean, there's nothing to enforce unless you have a
So we put
sign.
up a sign.
right, it says private drive.
But Wayne can do it with it.
Yes.
And then if we've got the camera going, we'll snap the photos.
And he's got nothing else to do, he'll sit there and watch them and
So
Yeah,
I think it's gonna,
Wayne
it
sits
goes back
here
to what you
a
said,
fair
it's gonna,
amount, and
it's gonna take some work on
Wayne's
our
sitting
part.
there and the truck pulls in.
well, especially with our driveway pavement, you didn't have to go with that big hump. They'll
That's right.
cruise in regularly.
Yeah.
Wayne's the precinct five.
Yeah.
Okay,
constant
alright.
control.
So, so that's something to do there.
So that's all under control.
Okay. So, anything else for super neighborhood?
Oh, super neighborhood? Not really, the Lake Thornwood / pond /
Okay.
drama. Did you guys
It's
get
amazing
those
paper.
letters over there?
We didn't get the letter.
No,
Okay.
thanks for the copy, that was.
It was in the Chronicle, and
Oh, good.
Yeah, so, I mean,
it's still going away, but.
well,
No.
don't know.
Not according to the letter that Bob said he got.
The one from that Skanska put out, that
I wouldn't mind.
they're not, well, I think long-term it's going away. I think they're just gonna drag their feet over a period of time. Absolutely, I think it's
It
gonna
said
be.
they were replacing the pump, they wouldn't put money into it if they were getting rid of it.
What is the pump? $2,000?
Why do you drain it to replace the pump?
I'm sorry, I know nothing about pumps.
Maybe they
I
need
mean-
a pump, probably the same pump that filters it can be used to drink.
I mean, let's assume that they've surveyed all that land and it's gonna take them several months to clear that property, because they gotta clean everything from the inside out, because they're starting to level that building.
Yeah.
I talked to our Mr. Architect man, the one who's like all history about waterways. I didn't reply, but I thought he would care. This was actually an historical site for where bayous come together,
I don't think it's a historical site, I think it's
It's
just
not.
been there, it's just been there forever.
It's just been there. You know what? This is private property.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want.
And that lease, that quote-unquote lease or agreement ran out in 2002.
So anyway, it was interesting because there was a presentation on that by someone from Memorial Thicket at the super neighborhood meeting. So we actually, Mike and I kind of heard about it before they went public with their Facebook page and started walking up and down Memorial with signs and stuff. But,
Didn't
you
they
know.
originally sell it to that company?
They traded. And
Yeah.
then they didn't make the
I am
agreement.
just skimming.
Yeah.
Right, so what happened is back in,
But I mean, that's
whenever
their
it
own
was,
problem,
so yeah, they, and I mean,
Individuals change.
right,
It's
well, plus
different.
there was this 15-year agreement that that the Memorial Thicket would continue to have access,
Yes.
as a nice place to go and feed the ducks or whatever, all right? so that's expired. And so now it's just a piece of private land.
The thing is that, as far as I'm concerned, Cafe Benedict, the only reason I go there is to sit and watch the ducks and the Spanish moss and have a beautiful outside window.
Let's hope that's not part of their marketing plan of the other.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't pay those prices for that food otherwise.
Food's not that good, huh?
No.
So, okay, well, that'll be interesting to see how that goes. Okay, cool. All right, so Super Neighborhood is continuing to benefit us, which is good. So security, we got the update the other day. I haven't forwarded that off to everybody just because I forgot to do it from Rosa, but by and large, things remain well. Not heard of anything, break-ins, rash, or anything like that, and no follow-up since the big shell robbery, a month or so ago, 2 months ago actually. Now that I think about that,
What was the drop?
the shell station got robbed
Oh.
the 22nd of April, 18th of April, something like that. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Was it the shell or the Citgo?
the shell.
Oh,
My wife was there, that's why I know it was the shell.
It was very
You heard about it.
I heard about it. She hasn't been back since.
You had to move though.
I've not had to move.
That's correct.
I've not had to move. So security goes well. So on the topic of security, I don't think we need to revisit any of the cameras here again.
We got that.
Pretty well.
Bob and I'll get that one this weekend.
Right. So the resident here in section 2 or 3,
yeah.
that is progressing. Um,
The case? The situation.
action is progressing,
Which,
and that's really, I can't really.
yeah,
go into
let's
details.
follow up,
So,
on that.
I've spoken with the complaining resident. He's asked that I not
Gotcha.
go into details, share that information.
No.
So, it's just important to know, and I just told him, I said, I would let him know that action's being taken. And we're here to support that resident in any form of fashion we can. Is what we're doing there. So, the park is, we're growing. I see we have food. We have flourishing trees in the garden, which is good.
Allotments.
Good luck with
Do we have any renters?
We have 3
Or I
takers.
guess allottees, would they be allottees? Is that what they would be called?
These are the 3 ladies that already have spaces there who've all raised their hands saying they would take something.
Yeah, essentially.
But there's no new blood.
Bruce, Cynthia, and Cecilia. The question is, does the board support the garden group recommendation to go ahead and allot the beds? And I don't see any reason not to.
I don't see any reason not to. I mean, when the garden group started, we said, hey, use it for something.
I'm
And,
not sure why she wanted me to bring it up, but I said I would, so I
I
have.
guess because, well, maybe because of that one negative email,
There was.
and also because, they are, it's not the exact use as they defined it when we first entered into this, but I mean, if, we need a motion to support the garden group having, a few
Jurisdiction.
small allotment gardens, I would support that.
Okay.
As a priority over anybody that would come in lease space?
Actually, what we're talking about is it okay if we sell what we got to people who want it? And what she's making sure that we don't have any objection to this decision, because if we had other plans or other expectations, we'd go, wait, what about the, I
I
don't
think
we
on
did.
the scale that they're talking about, it's
Not at all.
not a concern at all.
Okay.
There again, there's only one hose over there, and you can't support it, I want to put one hose.
Yeah, I mean, if we.
And I think your response to that, the negative email was right on. I don't know if he ever replied back to you on that, but
He just wanted to just,
okay.
Well, he envisioned, worst case, which, as you say, can't happen without a great deal more plumbing.
So I move that we support the Gardens Group initiative to move ahead with the allotment gardens as spelled
I'll
out.
second that. I mean, I trust y'all are making the decisions there.
All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Thank you.
I think Mike said it best, we're doing something, right?
Yep.
We're making an effort, we're trying, all that good stuff. So that's an important thing right there.
So covering on the park though, I did have a good meeting with one of the fence companies. I think I had actually an excellent idea. So this is the garden here alongside of the neighbors, the apartments, and then the Class C building.
Yeah,
Right here, this is the entrance right here. So I met to come out about repairing the very old and kind of falling apart chain link fence. And his answer back was,
Why?
take it all out except for this strip here. Everyone's already got fences there. And I agree.